Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has expressed deep sadness following the crash of a Turkish military cargo plane near the border between Georgia and Azerbaijan. According to an official statement released by the Turkish presidency, the incident involved a C-130 military transport aircraft belonging to the Turkish Air Force. The plane was flying from Azerbaijan back to Turkey when it went down in the mountainous border region separating Georgia and Azerbaijan. In his televised remarks, President Erdogan confirmed the tragic news, saying he had learned with deep sadness that our C-130 military aircraft, which was flying between Azerbaijan and our country, crashed on the border between Georgia and Azerbaijan. The president went on to stress that all available resources were being deployed to locate the site. He stated, "We are continuing our efforts in coordination with the relevant authorities to reach the wreckage." Erdogan also offered prayers for the personnel on board, expressing hope that the losses would be limited. "God willing, we will emerge from this accident with minimal damage. May God have mercy on our martyrs and may our prayers accompany them." The Turkish Ministry of National Defence later confirmed that search and rescue teams had been dispatched immediately after radar contact was lost. Early reports indicated that the aircraft disappeared from air traffic control screens while returning from a logistics mission in the Caucasus region. Officials in Ankara said that Turkish, Georgian and Azerbaijani authorities were working together under a joint coordination mechanism to narrow the search area. Communication lines were established between the three defence ministries, with all sides exchanging radar data and last known coordinates. The crash area is believed to be within a mountainous corridor where visibility is often poor and weather conditions can change rapidly. Rescue operations have been complicated by heavy fog, cold temperatures and rugged topography. The C-130 Hercules, a long-serving workhorse of military logistics, is known for its ability to carry troops, equipment and humanitarian supplies. Turkey has operated several variants of the C-130 since the 1962, and the aircraft has been used extensively in regional deployments, NATO operations and international disaster relief missions. While the exact cause of the accident has not yet been determined, Turkish aviation specialists have noted that the route between Azerbaijan and Turkey requires flying over the Caucasus mountain range, an area known for strong winds and unpredictable turbulence at lower altitudes. Authorities have not released information regarding the number of personnel on board. Turkish media outlets, citing defence sources, report that contact with the crew was lost shortly after the aircraft entered Georgian airspace. The Ministry of National Defence has urged the public to await official verification before sharing unconfirmed details. The incident has drawn widespread attention both within Turkey and among its regional partners. Azerbaijan's defence ministry expressed solidarity with Ankara, issuing a statement saying that Azerbaijani search units were cooperating closely with Turkish teams along the border. Georgian authorities also confirmed participation in the joint rescue effort and said local emergency services had been placed on alert. President Erdogan's message of unity emphasised coordination and transparency. His remarks came as the Turkish military established an operational command centre to track real-time updates from the field. The crash occurred amid ongoing defence collaboration between Turkey and Azerbaijan, two nations that describe their partnership as based on the principle of one nation, two states. In recent years, Turkish aircraft have supported logistics and training operations for Azerbaijani forces, particularly following the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. Defence analysts note that regular cargo flights connect Turkish air bases with their Azerbaijani counterparts in Baku and Nakhchivan, carrying equipment and personnel for maintenance, training and humanitarian support. Erdogan's tone in his address reflected the seriousness with which Ankara views the loss of any military personnel. His public statement was accompanied by the temporary lowering of flags at key defence institutions. Government spokespeople later reiterated that Turkey was maintaining continuous communication with both neighbouring governments. The Interior Ministry confirmed that its Disaster and Emergency Management Authority, AFAD, had also been mobilised to assist with search operations and potential recovery tasks. In previous aviation incidents involving Turkish military aircraft, investigators have typically convened multi-agency commissions that include the Air Force Command, the Ministry of Transport, and Independent Safety experts. A similar approach is expected following this event. Weather conditions at the time of the crash were reported to include moderate rain and intermittent fog across the region. Local meteorological data suggested reduced visibility, which may have contributed to the difficulty of maintaining altitude along the flight path. Turkish state media broadcast footage showing Defence Ministry vehicles departing from bases in Ankara toward the eastern provinces, where coordination posts were being established to support the operation. President Erdogan, speaking from the presidential complex in Ankara, expressed confidence that authorities would do everything possible to clarify the circumstances of the crash. In his words, "We are continuing our efforts in coordination with the relevant authorities to reach the wreckage." He repeated that phrase twice during his appearance, underscoring the government's focus on locating the site and confirming the status of the personnel involved. The president's remarks also carried a religious note common in Turkish official condolences. "God willing, we will emerge from this accident with minimal damage. May God have mercy on our martyrs, and may our prayers accompany them." The word martyrs in Turkish official usage refers to military personnel who lose their lives in the line of duty. In the hours following the announcement, messages of sympathy poured in from across the political spectrum. Opposition leaders extended condolences to the families of the crew and urged national unity. The Turkish Armed Forces posted a brief message on social media affirming that search operations continue without interruption. No evidence of hostile action has been reported. Security officials in Ankara said that preliminary radar data showed no indication of external interference, though they emphasized that the investigation remained in its early stages. Regional coordination has been crucial given the complex geography of the crash site. The border zone between Georgia and Azerbaijan is sparsely populated and features a mix of steep ridges and forested valleys, making access difficult. Satellite imagery from the Turkish Defence Ministry's reconnaissance units is being used to identify possible wreckage patterns. Experts from the Turkish General Staff and the Air Force Command have been dispatched to the nearest accessible area. Once the site is reached, investigators will focus on retrieving the flight data recorders, commonly known as black boxes, which will be key to determining the cause of the crash. Military analysts point out that Turkey maintains a fleet of aging C-130 aircraft that have undergone several modernization programs to extend their service life. The planes are routinely used for missions involving humanitarian deliveries, troop movements, and logistical support across friendly territories. The C-130 Hercules, designed by the Lockheed Corporation, is one of the world's longest-serving military transport planes. It can carry up to 20 tons of cargo and operate from short or unpaved runways, an advantage in regions with limited infrastructure. Past incidents involving similar aircraft have often been linked to challenging terrain, sudden weather shifts, or mechanical issues related to older components. However, officials have cautioned against speculation until physical evidence is recovered. Turkish media have reported that the Defence Ministry's Crisis Coordination Centre is releasing updates every 6 hours. These bulletins summarise ongoing search activities, weather forecasts and cooperation with neighbouring countries. Georgia's Interior Ministry confirmed that it had deployed mountain rescue specialists and border police helicopters to assist in locating debris. Azerbaijan's State Border Service likewise mobilised personnel along its northern frontier. Both governments said they were responding to Ankara's formal request for assistance through diplomatic and military channels. President Erdogan's words, broadcast nationally, have been widely replayed on Turkish television networks. Analysts say his prompt statement was aimed at reassuring the public and signalling full governmental engagement. The Turkish presidency's press office released an English-language transcript of his comments shortly after the broadcast. The document included his 3 principal statements: the acknowledgement of the crash, the coordination efforts, and the prayer for minimal loss. International reactions began arriving within hours. The NATO Secretary-General's office in Brussels issued a brief message expressing solidarity with Turkey, a long-standing NATO member, and offering assistance if required. In Baku, President Ilham Aliyev conveyed condolences to his Turkish counterpart, emphasizing that Azerbaijan stood ready to support all rescue and recovery efforts. The message highlighted the closer defense ties between the two allied nations. By nightfall, Turkish search teams were expected to reach the suspected crash zone using ground vehicles and aerial surveillance. A military communication relay was established to transmit updates directly to the Turkish Air Force Command Center. Officials have stated that once the wreckage is located, forensic teams will document the scene, secure any sensitive equipment, and prepare a report for the Chief of General Staff. A preliminary assessment is likely to be released within days, followed by a full technical investigation. The Ankara prosecutor's office has also opened an administrative inquiry, as required under Turkish law, for incidents involving military assets. Public attention remains focused on the fate of the crew. Turkish authorities have pledged to provide verified information to families as soon as identification procedures are complete. Counselling and support services have been activated for relatives at Air Force bases across the country. Observers note that Turkey has expanded its regional air transport network in recent years, relying heavily on cargo flights to sustain humanitarian and military operations. The crash, therefore, represents not only a human loss, but also a setback to ongoing logistical missions. Nevertheless, officials maintain that the immediate priority is the recovery of the wreckage and the confirmation of casualties. In his closing words, President Erdogan reiterated that Turkey's efforts would continue until every detail was known. We are continuing our efforts in coordination with the relevant authorities to reach the wreckage, he repeated, emphasizing persistence and coordination as key. As of the latest update, the search continues across the border region between Georgia and Azerbaijan, with Turkish, Azerbaijani and Georgian teams working side by side to locate the missing aircraft and bring clarity to the tragic event.
Bugün Azerbaycan'dan ülkemize gelmekte olan C-130 tipi askeri uçağımızın Gürcistan-Azerbaycan sınırında düştüğü bilgisini derin bir üzüntüyle öğrendik. Enkaza ulaşma çalışmalarıyla ilgili ülke makamları ile koordineli biçimde çalışmalarımız devam ediyor. İnşallah bu kazadan en az bir badire ile çıkarız. Rabbim şehitlerimize rahmet eylesin ve dualarımızla inşallah onların yanında olalım.